Alright, welcome to distance learning day 1. I tried to make this video earlier and epically failed in the rain, so we'll see if this one's any better. So, today we are going to go over surface area of prisms and cylinders, which are basically the same thing. Area. Spelling terrible. Of prisms and cylinders. And cylinders are basically just circular prisms. So you can read the vocab words there in the book. A net, you guys should know from before, is basically just the unfolded shape that if I wanted to, from a piece of cardboard, cut it out and fold it into this shape, what I would use. And so the first way that we're going to find area is using the area of nets, but following that I believe is an easier way, but you're welcome to do whichever way you feel more comfortable with. So in the book, I'll attempt to draw this pizza box. They give you a pizza box. It is 16 inches by 16 inches by 2 inches tall. Pizza. And if you were to draw the net, you'll see in the book, again, there's more than one way to draw a net, but they have this here. I apologize if my drawing is not the best. And this is one version of a net that you could use. You see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different faces. Now, with a prism, let me get a box. You have, if it's a rectangular prism or cube, you have, well, cube doesn't matter, but if it's a rectangular prism, you can lay it this way and have this long skinny part be your base, or you can have this be your base. And it's up to you. You'll find out later, your lateral area will be different, but your total area will be the same. So, if I label this is obviously 16 inches wide, this is 16 inches, and these little areas here are 2 inches. So if I were to find the area of 1, that's a 16 by 16 inch box, so it's 16 by 16, which is 256 inches squared. 2 is 2 by 16, 2 by 16, so that's 32 inches squared. Face 3 is another 16 by 16 inch box, which is 256 inches squared. 4 is just like 2, it is 2 inches by 16 inches, or 32 inches squared. Face 5 and 6 will be the same. Those are also 2 inches by 16 inches. Like I said, 6 is the same. And if we add those all together for the total, you will get 640 inches squared. It is not 640 squared, it's inches squared, square inches. Those are the units of area. Now, each of these, well, if you see here, let me get a different color. We used the top part up here kind of as our base. That would mean the bottom part, or this part 3, would be the second base, because there's always a top and bottom base. That means these faces, and then the two going that way, are our lateral faces. And so we'll use that in just a second. So if I redraw that box, okay, there's a formula. Surface area of a prism is 2b, capital B means area of base, plus perimeter times height. Perimeter times height gives you the lateral area. The lateral area is the combination of all the four sides of that prism. So P is perimeter of base, and then H is obviously the height. So we had 16, 16, and 2 inches tall. So, like we said, we want this to be the base, although you could have either one of these be the base, but for now we just have it laying flat like this. So, the area of our base, in this case, is a 16 by 16 inch square. So the area of that is 16 times 16, which is 256. Now the perimeter, that's the perimeter of our base. And if this is our base here, that pink thing I shaded in, that means my perimeter is 16 plus 16 plus 16 plus 16. Which is 64. And our height of our prism is 2 inches. And the units for area here is obviously inches squared. So if we use our formula now, the surface area, area of our base was 256. And then plus perimeter, 64, times height, which means we're going to have, what is that? 2 times 256. Mr. Hill does math super good. 256 times 2. I'm gonna have 512. Where's my marker? 512 plus 128 will give you 640 inches squared. And while this way may look harder right now, this is going to be the way you'll want to go about this in the future. Now, does this only work for rectangular prisms? No. This works for a triangular prism, and it basically is the same thing for cylinder. You'll see just a slight difference in cylinder, but it's really the same idea. The prism is the area of the top and bottom base, adding 4 lateral faces areas together. So, the triangular prism that they have next say 10, 6, 8, and then 18 units are centimeters. Alright, so our formula we said was what? Surface area of a prism is 2 times the area of the bases plus perimeter times height. However, in this case, our base is a triangle. The area of a triangle is 1/2 lowercase b length of base times height. So 1/2, our base is 8, and our height of that triangle is 6. It's going to be half of 8 times 6, which is 48. Half of that is 24. Units are centimeters squared. Our perimeter is the perimeter of the base. And they told us this side is 10. The perimeter is 6 plus 8 plus 10. Let's see, 14 plus 10, 24 inches. Wow, just kidding, centimeters. And your height of the prism, how high are you stacking these triangles, is 18 centimeters. So, perimeter times height is basically your lateral area. You'll see me write LA for lateral area. So your lateral area is perimeter times height which is 432, and it's an area, so it's units of centimeters squared. And if you plug everything into this formula of 2 base, so 2 times 24, plus perimeter times height, plus the lateral area, 432. It's going to be 48 plus 432. You're going to get 480 centimeters squared. Again, area is units squared. So go ahead and take a minute to look at that. You'll see in some books surface area showing up as 2 base plus lateral area, where your lateral area here is just the perimeter times height. And so the last shape that we go into is surface area of a cylinder. Alright, so you got anything cylindrical? Be right back. Shaving cream. Kind of a cylinder. So, with a cylinder, we have one option for base. We are stacking up circles this way. This one, you could stack long ones up this way, chop, 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 chop. Or you could stack smaller ones up taller. However, I cannot stack anything other than this circle down or up. So I only have one option for base. So, surface area cylinder. We're going to stick with the same idea. 2 base plus lateral area. We've been saying so far that the lateral area is perimeter times height, where this perimeter is the perimeter of the base. However, our base is what? A circle. How do you find the perimeter of a circle? That would be the circumference of a circle. The circumference of a circle is 2 pi radius, or pi times diameter. So that means the lateral area for a cylinder is going to be the perimeter, pi d, and then there is the h, the height, how tall is your cylinder. Alright, so your base, as I said, is a circle. Area of a circle is pi r squared. So, the diagram they give us beautiful drawing there is a radius of 4. They don't give us units, and they say the height is 10. So, if you stick with base, the area is pi r squared. Pi, the radius is 4. And we're going to leave everything in terms of pi right now. So 4 squared is 16 pi. Cool. We then need to find the lateral area. Lateral area, we said, is perimeter times height for prisms. However, for a circle or a cylinder, it's pi times diameter for the circumference times the height. So, I'm going to have pi. My diameter, right, is double the radius. So my diameter is 8. And my height, Shazam, 10. So it is 80 pi. So, taking those pieces of information, the surface area of this cylinder is 2 base, because I have the top and the bottom base. So 2 times 16 pi, plus the lateral area. The lateral area is basically everything around here that is not the top or the bottom. So, plus 80 pi. It's going to be 32 pi plus 80 pi, which is, what is that, 112? Is Mr. Hill good at math? Yeah. 112 pi. And if you multiply by 3.14, you'll get 351.68, which the book says is about 352. There's no unit, so they'll say units squared. Now if you use the pi button on the calculator, instead of 3.14, you'll get a slightly different answer, and if you put 22/7 as pi, you'll get a slightly different answer. So just either be consistent, make a note of what you are using for pi, or sometimes in the book they will tell you what they want to use for pi, either 22/7, 3.14, or the pi button on the calculator. So hopefully that made a little bit of sense. Our main formula for today is surface area is 2 base plus the lateral area. That is the main formula, and there's just slight twists of how you find the lateral area or the area of the base depending on the shape. And that is it. Hopefully this didn't end up trash, and hopefully it's somewhat manageable. I'll see y'all tomorrow.